Hey everybody, time for NFC and AFC picks. This week, since there's only two games, I'm going to go a little bit more in depth, saying who I believe has the bigger edge in what major position. Starting with the Patriots taking on the Broncos. Starting off with the biggest position in the game, we have the quarterbacks with Tom Brady going up against Peyton Manning for the 17th time in their career, fifth time in the postseason. Uh, Tom Brady has had the edge over Peyton Manning in their head-to-head matchup in their careers, having an 11-5 edge. And the way that Peyton Manning has been digressing this year, and possibly it was a very bad year for him statistically, even getting benched at one point, and then the injuries. Yes, he got injured, but I just think he's been getting a little bit worse this year, and Tom Brady has just been getting better even with his age. And I think Tom Brady has an edge over Peyton Manning in that. Next, we have the running backs. Both teams are not a big running team with their quarterbacks and receivers, but just the presence of the running backs is still something to notice, because what happened with the Broncos and Patriots last time when C.J. Anderson did that long touchdown run to end the game in overtime. And with that, I think the Patriots are still going to keep an eye out on that. And with the Patriots running backs, they really don't have much with all the injuries they've had over the season. They're down to James White, who did not do so well against the Kansas City Chiefs. And I just think with the combination of C.J. Anderson and Ronnie Hillman, they have a better running back combination than James White, Brandon Bolden, and Steven Jackson. Next, we go on to the wide receivers. The wide receivers to the Patriots have been up and down with injuries, and I just think with the injuries, it gives them a less of an edge. They have Danny Amendola, Julian Edelman should be playing. Brandon LaFell has not been doing so well lately. And then with the Broncos, they have Emmanuel Sanders, they have Demaryius Thomas. I just think those two guys are too good for the Patriots wide receivers. And yes, I'm not saying Rob Gronkowski, but you guys will see soon. But with the wide receivers, I just think the Broncos have the bigger edge. Next, we have the tight ends, which is why I did not include Rob Gronkowski in the wide receivers. The Patriots have arguably the best tight end to play in probably around 10, 15 years, maybe ever. Yes, the Broncos have very good tight ends with Vernon Davis and Owen Daniels, but no one can match Rob Gronkowski. He is probably the toughest person to stop in the NFL to cover. No one could really stop him. It's going to be a big test for the Broncos linebackers and safeties, and obviously the Patriots have the clear edge in that. Next, we have the defense. The Patriots defense has been better over the last couple of years. They used to not be a big defense team, but last year their defense really stepped up to win the Super Bowl, and this year their defense has been doing very well. But the Broncos had statistically the best defense in the NFL, which gives them the obvious edge. Next, we have the coach, and there's no question about it. Yes, Gary Kubiak's a good coach, but you're going up against Bill Belichick, who's arguably one of the best to ever coach. So obviously the edge goes to Bill Belichick and the Patriots. So over that, now that with my choice of the game, I just think even if the Broncos have the edge in running backs, wide receivers, and defense, you can't knock Tom Brady and Bill Belichick out. I just think he's going to do very well this game, passing for 3 touchdowns. And I just think the Patriots are going to come back out on top in Denver with a score of 24-17. Next, we have the NFC Championship game with the Carolina Panthers hosting the Arizona Diamondbacks. Starting with the quarterback position, both Carson Palmer and Cam Newton have been incredible this season. Cam Newton getting both Offensive Player of the Year and MVP. Carson Palmer has been doing very well also. He was in the talk for MVP during most of the season, but I mean, the way Cam Newton's been playing with his arm and his legs, no question about it, the Panthers have the edge there. Next, we have the running backs. The Panthers running backs have been a little on and off with injuries. It's still pretty close with Jonathan Stewart back. He did very well last week, but I just think David Johnson and Andre Ellington are too good for the Panthers' run defense, and I just think they'll have a very good game. And I think that if Andre Ellington gets some touches, he's more of a pass-catching running back, but if he gets some touches, I think they could combine for over 100 yards, and I'm going to give the Cardinals the edge in that. Next, we have the wide receivers. The Cardinals' wide receivers are arguably the best group in the league. It's Jaron Brown, Larry Fitzgerald. They're just amazing. Yes, the Panthers have Ted Ginn Jr., but he's been on and off. They have Devin Funchess, who is a rookie. If Kelvin Benjamin would have been in this season, he got hurt before the season started and been out the entire year. If he played this season, Panthers could have gone 16-0, and I would have given the Panthers the edge there. But Larry Fitzgerald is having one of the best seasons in his career, and I will. And he had a monster game last year with 176 yards, I believe, including what was it, an 80-yard touchdown to lead up to his 5-yard touchdown catch. So I will give the Cardinals also the edge in that. Next, we have the tight end. The tight end position for the Panthers is the best position, one of the best positions they got. They have Greg Olsen, who's one of the best in the league, and he's been having a great season with Cam Newton. And the Cardinals tight ends don't do much. It's Jermaine Gresham, and they just don't really play their tight ends much. They're in the top three, I believe, in the league this season that played with a 4 wide receiver set and no tight ends, which is why the clear edge for tight ends goes to the Panthers. Next, we have the defense. I believe the Cardinals have the best. Statistically, the Broncos did have the best defense in the league, but I just think the Cardinals are more well-rounded and more like full of like they have the better defense. I just think they were the best defense in the league, and they have one of the best players. They have Patrick. It's going to be a great defensive matchup. Yes, Josh Norman going up against Patrick Peterson, 2 out of maybe 3 or 4 of the best corners in the league. I just think Peterson is much better than Norman, and because of that, I give the Cardinals the edge. Next, we have the coaches. It's Bruce Arians versus Ron Rivera. Both great coaches. Ron Rivera is probably going to get Coach of the Year. Bruce Arians deserves credit for Coach of the Year. He's brought his team to the playoffs every year, even last year when he was down to his 4th-string quarterback in the playoffs. And this is a rematch, actually, of last year's wild card game where the Cardinals were down to their 4th-string quarterback and lost. But now with Carson Palmer back, and how Bruce Arians has been coaching this team this year, I'm going to give the edge to Bruce Arians. All right, time for the pick. I just think the Cardinals are too good all around. I think they're the most well-around team offensively and defensively. I just think they're just too good. And I honestly, they're my pick for the Super Bowl. And I believe they're going to win. I think Carson Palmer will pass for 2 touchdowns, and David Johnson will run for 1. And their defense will come up with 1 or 2 turnovers, with the Cardinals coming out on top with a score of 27-20. All right, those are my picks for the championship games. I'll see you guys next time for the Super Bowl pick.